I have been watching a lot of the Flosstube videos over the past couple of years, and I was way jealous, so I decided to try to make my own video. I have never made a YouTube video before, so this is kind of my first, foray into it, so please be nice. I apologize if I keep looking over. I want to make sure that I'm still in focus, or, the frame is okay. Okay, as I said, hi, my name is Rachel. I live in a very small town in southwest Minnesota. So way out on the prairie, very, very close to where Lori Ingalls Wilder grew up. That's in Walnut Grove, which is close to the town that I live in. I live in a very small town. I work in agriculture, some kind of a pseudo farmer, if you will. I'm married. I just got married in November of last year. I have 2 cats, Kumasi and Ponzo, which I got the names off dyes, not dye as in D-I-E, but dye as in D-Y-E, that I used to use when I was in graduate school. I also have a dog. His name is Copper. And that's kind of just my brief introduction. So I thought with my first video, since this is kind of scary, that I would just show you all of my finishes and all of my whips. A brief history of my stitching. I learned how to cross stitch when I was in elementary school. I remember that they had this after school or before school type thing, like with crafts, where you could come in and learn, different things or hang out. That is where I learned how to knit. I was in the 5th grade knitting club, and we thought that was really cool. And then that's also when I learned how to cross stitch. I have then been cross stitching on and off, for the past, 20-ish years. And it was never a big part of my life. My grandmother is a very avid cross stitcher. And I actually just inherited, she's cleaning out her basement. And so I got a whole bunch of her stuff, which I now have to go through. But it was never really a big part of my life until I graduated from graduate school and moved back home to Minnesota. And me and one of my friends, we went to Hobby Lobby just one night, and I found this little kit, which I'll show you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know how to cross stitch. So I picked it up, and I did the whole thing in one sitting, and I was like, this is awesome. So then, when I went back home, I picked up a bigger kit, and the rest is history. When I met my now husband a couple years ago, he was an over-the-road truck driver, and he used to watch YouTube a lot, and he saw that I was cross-stitching, and I was like, oh, you watch all these YouTube videos about whatever, there's nothing on there for me. And he's like, oh, I bet there are videos out there on cross-stitch. So we Googled it, or, we YouTubed it, I guess, and then I discovered Flosstube, and then I got even more obsessed with cross-stitch. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these other, people out there, and so I really found a community. I'm not very active, per se. I want to be more active, so that is why I am here making this video. And sorry I keep looking all over the place. I will try to get better. Anyway. So, for my first video, I would like to just show my finishes and my whips. Yes, I'm a very distracted stitcher. I'm not a serial starter, but I do get bored. So I don't have a set rotation or anything, but I do have 4 projects, I think 4, that I'm working on right now. So let's start with my finishes. So, as I said, a couple years ago, so this was done in 2013, this is when I picked cross stitch back up again, and what I decided to do was this little gnome by Janlin. As I said, it's a tiny little pattern, and I did this in one night, and he usually sits on my desk at work, but I brought him just for this video. So there he is. So that was my first finish, and actually, he kind of comes out of this frame, so I kind of need to glue him back in there. But this sits on my desk at work, kind of as a reminder that I love to cross stitch, and that's just me. Okay, so then my second finish is actually the largest of my finishes. This is called Frog Pile. It's a Design Works pattern. I finished this in 2015, but I started in 2013. It's on 14 count Aida. And I got this at Joann Fabrics. So here is the picture. And this came as a kit. And then I have not framed this or washed it or anything yet, because as I said, I'm still kind of new and I've never completed anything this big, so this is kind of a big deal for me. But here are the frogs. Ta-da! So I have a good friend that loves frogs, and when I actually graduated from graduate school, she told me that I should have because I was single at the time, and I moved into a 2-bedroom house. And she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, your spare bedroom should be in an amphibian room. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, she's like, you could have all these frogs. Okay, so it always makes me laugh because, like, I have these frogs. So I plan on giving this to her, but, you know, when I finally frame it or whatever. It'll be like never. Okay, so then after I finished the frogs, I decided to do something a little bit smaller and a little bit more easy to, like, rest my brain. So I went to Joann Fabrics, and by the way, just a side note, the closest Joann Fabrics to me are really, you know, any sort of craft store besides Walmart is a good 45-minute drive. So most of what I have is either from Walmart or, I mean, from the internet. I have a lot of stuff that I get offline because things will deliver here, but it's hard for me to go places. So this is called True Friend. It's a Joan Elliot pattern put on by Design Works. It's on the 11 count Aida, which was awesome because it's super big. And I finished this in 2015. So this is the kit. And this is my finish. Ta-da! This one was so easy and so fun because it was just mindless. And I was doing it at a pretty stressful time in my life. And so it was kind of nice to have something so mindless. And I loved doing this. And I want to frame it and give it to one of my best friends. But it just hasn't happened yet. So, yes. Okay. Next, so my husband has some medical issues, and one day we had to go back to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is about like a 2.5-3 hour drive from where I am, and I needed something to do on the car ride. So I decided to do this little Chap Tractor that I found at Walmart. So this is a Janlin kit. Here it is. And I decided to substitute, or to add, I guess, for some reason, some DMC metallic thread. So this is DMC E699. And so I added that into the tractor to make him kind of a little sparkle. And then, because it's for my husband, I put a little I heart you. He really likes this. So in this kit, you know, they gave you this little frame, but what I'd like to do is finish it into an ornament and put it on our Christmas tree. But, yeah, so it sparkles. And I agree with everybody. This DMC metallic thread is not very fun to stitch with, but, you know, I made it through. It was a good little project to do in the car while we were driving all day. Okay, so this is around the time, so now we're in 2015, and I'm pretty into Flosstube. And I decided, I was like, oh my gosh, because I didn't know there was anything other than Aida. And I still do stitch primarily on Aida because, well, I'll show you my whips, but I had never seen people stitch on anything other than Aida. And I was like, what is this? So I decided I went to the Joann's that's nearest me, and they had this even weave. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stitch 2/2. And do something. So I went online to find a free pattern that I thought looked kind of easy, or, you know, just kind of simple. And I stitched this. It's called a Huggle Do. It's a free pattern by Lizzie Kate. I'm not sure if it's still on her website, but that is where I found it. And so not only is this the first time that I used even weave, I used a 28 count even weave, but also I decided to use variegated threads. And these I actually found at Walmart. They don't really have a name. I can't tell you the colors, like what they're called, but I found this whole pack of variegations at Walmart, and I was like, awesome, like this will go well. So this is a Hug Will Do on 28 count even weave. And my plan is to make this into like an ornament to put on our tree, or I could even do it as like a little framed thing to have like, this by the way is my craft room / loft in our house. So I could put it in here. I don't know. It's my little cave, my room as I call it. And so these are the 2 different threads, variegated threads that I used. They're not DMC, it's just the bobbins that I have, but they don't really have names, but I like them. So that was kind of fun, my first time with variegated threads. So that was that. And then this is my last finish. This I actually recently did in the earlier part of 2016. So I was married, and my husband is a huge Sex Pistols fan. And like they're his favorite band, even though they've been broken up for years and really only put out 1 album, but you know, whatever. So, and that was actually one of the things when we met that we talked about a lot of his music, because I actually know who the Sex Pistols were, and I know all their music and stuff, and my husband thought that was really awesome. So I was on Clouds Factory, and I noticed that they have, like, Clouds Factory has a Sex Pistols pattern, so I bought it. And I did this for my husband. It is on 28 count linen, but I forgot to, like, I took the tag off and then stupidly forgot to, like, write down what the name of the color is. So I'm not sure the color. I got this at an LNS in Minneapolis. I finished it in 2016, and the only thing, so I'll show it to you. So this is Sex Pistols. Ta-da! And I did it on this, I thought this lime green fabric was perfect. Because, well, their original album was yellow and pink, but the one that you see all the time is this lime green and pink. So I thought this looked really good. So it has the logo and then the little guys. I like Johnny Rotten and Sid Vicious. They look cute. I thought Johnny Rotten was the cutest one of them. But don't tell my husband that. Anyway, and then what I decided to do, I don't know if you can tell, but in the white part of the Sex Pistols, I added in DMC E5200 metallic thread to kind of give it a little sparkle. And it's kind of hard to see on this camera, but in person, it definitely shows through. So yeah, so this I would like to frame and put in our bedroom, because I think it'd be kind of fun. We don't have a whole lot of wall art since we moved into this house, and I just thought it would be fun to kind of, you know, have something a little more funky. But yeah, add this to the list of things that I obviously don't have any FFOs unless you count those little Janlin ones, but I'm not very good at finishing. I'm really good at stitching, just not so good at the finishing. But that's okay. My husband still loves me. So those are my finishes. Now I'm gonna be creepy, turn the page of my notes, and we're going to do my whips. So I have 4 whips. The first one, I don't even know if it counts as a whip, because it's something that, like, I picked up at Walmart and, like, I started and I'll finish someday. It's this little, like, create your own design bracelet, and I don't have, like, who it's by, but this is a little kit that I found at Walmart. So this is, like, the, you know, the instructions, and then they have, you know, various little patterns that you can put, but it doesn't have, like, a brand name or anything on it, so I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, so you get, now mine still has a needle stuck in it, but you get this bracelet that I've already kind of started, excuse me, and it wraps, you know, around your wrist, you know, twice, and then you can stitch whatever, you know, you want on it. So I put in some chevrons. I haven't done this far, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. And then it came with, I have my stuff sitting on the floor here, so, you know, it came with all of these different flosses. So they're not DMC or anything, but you know, I figured they came in the kit, might as well use them. So it's just kind of like a fun project that I started, you know, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I might put my name on there, or, you know, they have these little dogs. Maybe I have a pattern, or I could find, you know, I have, you know, I have various books and stuff from my grandma that just have like tiny little motifs, and I might put something like that in there. I don't know. But I'm counting it as a whip because I technically am working on it. Okay, so that was number 1. Whip number 2 is something that I started probably in 2015. Again, this is a kit that I got from Walmart. This is called Godsent Special Things. So here's the finished project. And this is how far I am. I'm a hoop person. I do have Q-snaps, and I'm working on a Q-snap in one of my bigger projects, and I do like it. But I have a lot of hoops from my grandmother, so. And as you can see, I got mostly the top half is done. I need to finish, you know, this cat right here, and then all the grass and stuff. But it's coming along good. As I said, I kind of have, you know, I have my days where like, oh, I want to stitch on this, and, you know, I keep going, and then I have my bigger piece that I'm trying to work on. So anyway, so that's Godsent Special Things. And then this one I started in 2016. I want to say in like February or March, sometime in there. I got this because I got married. So this is another Janlin kit called Wedding Collage. So this is the picture. I'm going to put my husband's names in there. We got married. And I thought this would be cute to like, because I have this, I'm like the worst wife. I don't know. I have yet to frame any of our wedding pictures or put any of them up. Like, I just don't have time. So like, my plan was to like have this, you know, and then have like, you know, pictures of us around it, but we'll see. So that's how far I've gotten. I'm just over halfway. And I love this piece. I like the fact that there's a mixture of cross stitch and then a lot of these like black work sort of patterns. I really want to do the Save the Stitches black work design that everyone was doing last year. But it intimidates me to have that many whips. So I was like, well, I gotta finish something, you know. Plus it's so big. But, you know, I love doing especially like this little guy down here with the hearts. I thought it was so cute, you know. But yeah. So I have half of it done. I actually just worked on this. My husband and I just got back from Kansas City, so I was working on this in the car. It was a good car project. Oop, and my needle fell out of it. That's the one thing about cross stitch. My husband loves that I cross stitch, but he is terrified that I'm going to drop the needles and then he's going to step on them and then he's going to impale his foot. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a you problem, dear. I'm just kidding. But yeah. And then this is my last whip. This is the one that I've been working on. I started it in 2015. It is called Christmas Chapel 1 by Thomas Kincaid, Painter of Light. And then I got this from Candemar Designs as a kit. And I got this off Amazon. And my husband picked this out. He wanted me to cross stitch him something that he could frame and we could put, you know, somewhere in our house. So this is what he picked out. So, yes. And then, I'll show it to you. So this is still in the Q-snap because this is what I'm actively working on. In fact, I was working on this today. So this is how far I've gotten. So as you can see, I'm going to be starting the church in here. But this is just what I like to fondly refer to as confetti nightmare. It is just solid confetti. But I'm having a good time. I was parking. I was doing like, when I first started, I was doing 10 by 10 columns. And that was working pretty well. But I didn't like all the threads hanging off. It like bothered me. And so what I decided to do is that I go kind of cross country and I just do one thread at a time. And I pick a color and then I fill it in, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this. So this, I scanned the pattern because it's on paper. I scanned it, so now it's on my iPad, so I can blow it up really big because like the symbols are tiny on the paper pattern. And so the scanned part that I have right now, you know, fits this block right here. So I'm going to finish all this confetti nightmare. And then part of the church is actually less confetti. And then I think I'm going to go down, which is more snow and less confetti. So I'm going to give myself a little break before I go this way, which is like more confetti. And I gridded this myself with this sulky silver metallic thread. This took me forever to do, to grid it myself, but totally worth it. Because it helps me immensely while I'm doing this project. And this is a little needle minder that I actually made myself. I was like, I want a needle minder. Everyone looks so cool. So I made this little guy myself. It's a button that I had, and then I covered it with fabric, and then I glued a little rhinestone to it, and then I glued magnets to it. But I have actually quite a lot. Sorry, I keep swiveling. I actually have quite a lot of pins that I'd like to make into needle minders. I think that'd be kind of fun. But I need to get like stronger magnets because this one I don't like as much because the magnet's not that strong. So yeah. But that's kind of all I got. So let me know in the comments if there's anything, you know, you'd like me to do or anything you'd like to see. I plan on doing kind of like updates, maybe some vlog footage or stuff like that. As I said, I work in agriculture, so I have a fun time, you know, recording just random things that I do throughout the day, especially in the summer. It's a lot of fun. We get to go field inspecting and things like that. I love being outside and in the field, but I love cross-stitching as well. Anyway, I plan on doing, you know, some of the tags that have been floating around just for fun. But hi, and I hope you guys welcome me, and I'm just so excited to be here. Have a fantastic day. Bye.